and welcome to Paving Paradise, a podcast dedicated to the asphalt paving industry. I'm Justin Rodriguez, and I'm joined with my co-host Scott Ramsey.
Hi, everybody.
Today's episode is all about who we are and what we plan to do with this show and where we go from here. So let's get started. Scott, I'm going to interview, and we'll answer some of these questions, and hopefully it'll be interesting for the viewers, and then they can understand our qualifications of who we are, where we came from, and what we're going to do with this podcast. So
why we're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How was your week, by the way?
Good.
Yeah. Sun's out, shining.
Yeah,
we're
I know.
Working. Yeah.
Luckily, we're working. COVID's going out there.
That's a bad word now.
Yeah. I know, it is. So let's start with these questions, because the viewers are going to want to know who we are and where we came from. So how long have you been in the asphalt paving business, Scott?
Well, I've been managing my company for 21 years. Oh, wow. But I've been in the asphalt industry. Obviously, I just didn't go from nothing into owning my own company. So I worked for other companies for about 10 years prior to that. So coming up on 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
You have a lot of experience doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what got you into that? What got you into the paving business?
Well, it's kind of a funny story, and the reason I say that is because I absolutely hated the business, and the reason for it is because I was a young teenager, adolescent, and got into some trouble, just minor stuff. I was fighting with kids at the school, at the bus stop, and my dad was working for PG&E at the time, which actually he still works for PG&E, but he was working at PG&E at the time in Fresno, and he hears about me getting into trouble, roughhousing, and he comes back. I'm about 12 years old, 12 and a half, something like that.
You were a tough guy.
Yeah. No, not really. We were just screwing around. We were just messing around as boys. Boys will be boys, right? And so he gets back on the weekend, and he comes in and says, "Hey, Scott, I can't have you here with your sisters and your stepmom, and you got to go. After school, weekends. I can't trust you to be here with your mom and the girls. You got to go help your grandpa, who happened to have a little seal coating and striping company." And I absolutely hated it. I mean, it was the worst thing ever. And weekends, nights, after school, going into high school, same thing. I just absolutely hated it. And I think it was my grandfather paid me like $4 an hour cash, and the money, when you're that young, you don't really care about the money. The money's not, I would have rather been riding my bike and surfing and playing video games and shit than being out there.
Earn money when you're a little kid.
Yeah, you don't have you don't see
buy a Nintendo.
No sense of value to it. So anyway, and then it got to a point where I saw a future for myself in it, and my grandfather was always good about allowing me to try different things, and he put a sense in me where there's nothing you could do wrong that we can't fix. And I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I screwed up so many jobs, but I always felt secure in that, whatever I messed up, we could always go back and fix it, burn it, torch it, roll it, seal coat it, whatever. We could always fix it.
Right.
So, and then one thing led to the next, and I just kind of stuck with it, and here we are 30 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah.
That's a long time. So you have a lot more experience, I think, than I do, because I came into it a lot later, but we'll talk about me in a little bit. And then I did want to ask you, what do you enjoy most about this business? I mean, you've been in it so long, so what keeps you going? What do you like most about it?
Well, the thing that got me started in the business is what I think gets most people started in their business, whether they're a plumber, electrician. They work for somebody, and they realize at some point in their life that they're actually pretty good at it. And when I worked for other companies, I mean, I was really good. I mean, I knew the trade. I knew how to rake and roll and run a paver. I mean, I could just do all those things really well. And I said, well, why don't I do this for myself? And so in the beginning, the work part of it was really, really great. I mean, because that was the part of it that I knew. And the part of the business I didn't know, which is what has propelled me to where I am today, is the customer service side and the day-to-day dealings with customers and people.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so the work part of it I've always loved. Not always. I told you guys I didn't like it in the beginning, but the work part of it is what kept me going. And but as I've matured and grown in the business, as the business has grown on its own, I now really enjoy the relationships and working with people and trying to solve problems and drainage problems, and people have old asphalt and they don't know what to do. Hey, can we stop a coat of seal on this thing? No, you can't. Or yes, you can in some instances. So I mean, that's what I would say I enjoy most. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you with that. And then so I know you weren't a big fan of this question because it's kind of sort of the same question, but I think I don't know. I always compartmentalize this business because we do offer so many different services because we're maintenance contractors basically.
Yep.
We do
Yep.
new construction, we do maintenance, patching, all that stuff. So which service that you offer do you most enjoy? Because I know I don't know, there's certain ones that I know people like, they give that wow factor.
Sure.
It's a chip seal or a brand new seal coat with new striping.
Yep.
So which one do you like? What do you think?
I would have
overlay.
I would have to say when it comes to paving, even the layman knows what a new paving project looks like. They drive all over California, in our local cities here on the Central Coast, so people kind of know what to expect. Seal coat, we're making things black, we're protecting the asphalt. People kind of know what to expect. But the thing I enjoy most are chip seals.
Yeah.
The reason for it is because they're so darn transformative. I mean, they're so transformative, and when it's like taking a house that's painted and completely changing the color of it. It's so dramatic.
Or
it's
putting
so,
like a stucco house, putting siding on it or
yeah,
shingles. Yeah,
exactly right. And there have been, and this takes me back to like 2008, 2009, when people couldn't even afford to pave. Asphalt was so ungodly expensive, and we were doing a lot of maintenance projects, like you said. I mean, that's kind of what we do. And there were people that came to me and said, Scott, we just don't have the budget anymore. Our stocks are down, asphalt's through the roof. What can we do to kick the can down the road and maintain this thing? And so there were projects that a lot of my competitors wouldn't even touch. They were like, if you're not willing to come in, pulverize, grade, compact, and pave, we're not interested in doing anything. And so I would go in with an alternative and say, hey, we can come in here, we can patch it, crack fill it, do a double chip. If we really wanted that insurance policy, we could come in, do a double chip seal, fog seal it.
Right.
And I still have jobs to this day where my competitors wouldn't touch it, and they still look good to this day. And I mean, that really is, and it's economical too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the chip seal, and with the help of my guys, we get into like custom blends where we're taking different color rocks, blending them together, coming up with these weird names for them, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I like
that's
it.
cool. That's unique. That's a unique touch. So
yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. That's the part that I like. But now off to you now.
All right.
Let's run through the same questions. How long you been doing it, and give a rundown of you.
Yeah, I graduated college, and then my dad had an asphalt paving business. So I did a few little odd jobs before I started working for him, and then I started working for him in like 2008, maybe 2007, somewhere in there. And
probably a rough time to start working for your dad.
That was downturn in the economy.
Yeah. Oh god.
So we but we survived and we kept doing it. And I remember riding around the car with my dad. It's like, hey, if we could survive doing when a terrible economy, when the economy turns around, like we should be okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so you survive those times, you're going to survive anything.
Yeah. So that, and then so I worked with him. I did a lot of estimating, and I learned how the whole process went. But before that, when I was in college and I think even in high school, I would go around. He would drive a seal coat truck, and I'd go in with my brother, and we'd go seal a little driveway here and there, and
nice.
On the weekend, like a weekend job, or help it out, and it was just helping out the family business. And then I learned that part about the business, earlier on. But a lot of times I was in college, away from it for a while. So when I came back, I really, put my boots on and started measuring pavement and offering, suggestions to customers and doing estimating. So, and then from there, my dad retired, and my brother and I set up our company, and we went from there. And we've been doing that for the last almost 3.5 years, I think. We've been going.
Nice.
So yeah, my experience isn't 30 years deep, but I've been doing it for about 15 years at least, just being in the asphalt industry. Just purely, that's my profession.
Sure.
Just working, selling asphalt jobs, doing chip seals, seal coat, patching, paving new driveways for commercial, residential, universities, all kinds of stuff. So I've been in it for a while, but I, like you, have made my share of mistakes and learned from them, and you do learn.
Well, the nice thing from you, coming from working for a family business and also me working with a family business, there's certain things you get to do with a family business that you wouldn't ordinarily get to do, and you learn at a really accelerated pace.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I found in my life.
Oh yeah.
You being in the trenches with your dad and your brother, things that may have taken you, 20 years to learn, you learned them in 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. So you answered my second question. What got you into it? Family business.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most?
The freedom. Like I can't sit at a desk, so I'm always out driving around. I'm going from one job to the other, meeting customers all over the place. Like it's just we're a small company, so I do almost all the estimating. I do all the phone calls. So I'm constantly talking to new people. So that's exciting. And I get to drive around a lot, so I get to see different places. I do enjoy that. And the other thing is the relationships that I've built with customers over the years. Because you get to know a lot of people, not intimately, but they rely on you. And that's kind of a good feeling when you do a good job for somebody and you show up and they call you back because, hey, we like that guy, or that's our guy. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you have that same thing with your clients. Yeah. And, these are the people that we rely on to keep going forward.
Right, absolutely.
Those are the referrals. Those are the jobs that you're most proud to show off.
Absolutely.
For new customers. But definitely my favorite part, besides the freedom of being just outdoors, is just the relationships that I've built over the years. I've met so many cool people. I've done so many interesting jobs for interesting people. So that's my favorite part.
But when you say if you're doing your job properly, if you're doing your job properly, as let's just use it not as you and I as owners, but let's just say you and I as sales guys, if we're doing our jobs properly, wouldn't that relate into our customers? Really, you said not intimately, but that's true, not intimately, but a sense of friendship.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I've made a lot of good friends that. People that you wind up inviting over for barbecues.
Exactly.
And you just, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yes. So
you go out with your family, you see somebody at dinner. And, I mean, that's probably one of the greatest things that I have encountered is, you go to dinner expecting to have, I've got a wife and a daughter, and we expect to go to dinner, just the three of us. We walk in and there's customers there. Hey, Scott, you got to join our table. And then it, turns into a wild night. That's pretty fun. Cool. That's nice. I mean, that is, moving right along. What part of the different facets of what we do, like you said, overlay, asphalt, chip seal,
that was
dig
kind
out,
of my question,
grading.
But I do.
What do you enjoy most?
Chip seal is really cool. I was going to say chip seal because
you can't steal my answer. You can't steal it. You can't steal it.
But I do. Chip seals are fun because they're limited in scope. I think you can't do it everywhere as a decorative because if they have a really steep incline.
Correct.
I don't recommend that because it just kind of all washes down the hill.
Or you see kids playing.
Yeah. You don't want that. It's a decorative
hamburger meat knees. Yeah.
But I don't. It's not chip seal. I don't know why. I always like seal coating because it's so easy. I don't have to redesign anything. I don't have to worry about pitch and elevation. But
That's
we're
true.
going in there and we're maintaining a lot, and then it looks instantaneously like night and day. It looks new. You stripe the lines, and it's just prolonging the surface of the asphalt.
Yep.
And it's a job that you do. You can be proud of when you finish it. It's a lot of hard work. People don't understand how much work goes into the blowing, the cleaning, filling
absolutely.
the cracks. It's a lot of hard work, but it's an instant. It is an instant gratification.
It's an instant transformation as well.
Yeah, because it looks good. So I like when we do a big parking lot and there's new lines, and then you've seen those drone pictures they have in the magazines, you see brand new stripes on a black.
No, nothing looks better. People like the black. They like the black look. Absolutely, yeah.
It looks clean.
Well,
and there's no more dust and allergens kicking in the air. And
I know we're going to talk about this in future episodes, but you talk about seal coating, and I would say, up until recently, that was probably the worst thing I hated was seal coats. Well, because we'll get into it. We'll get into it later on future episodes about seal coating. But there's nothing worse than spending your whole weekend doing bank parking lots or whatever. You spend all weekend long doing a bank parking lot or doing a shopping center, all week long doing a shopping center. The first damn car that drives in there, Granny pulls in and doesn't really know how to navigate, spins her wheel, and you've got scuff marks, and the customer's calling you, the guys didn't clean it right, or something's not right with the material, and that that would drive me to drinking. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about it future episodes. The seal coat manufacturers have kind of got that under control, polymers and stuff. But that was probably one of my least favorites.
Right. And then I don't know. What do we plan to do with this episode? So let's move on. I mean, that's who we are. We've been doing this for a long time. We're both licensed asphalt contractors in the state of California. But I called you about trying to do a podcast not that long ago,
right.
And I thought this would be kind of we talk on the phone fairly regularly, and I figured this would be a good thing we talk about it anyway. So let's just,
that's true. That's true.
It answers questions for people. I know a lot of people have questions about us. Our tablecloth is falling off. Sorry.
Sorry, the world. Yeah.
So I don't know why did you decide to join me on a podcast?
I mean, we talked, and I kind of hit on this a little bit as far as what I wanted to say about that. But let's give the viewers, give our audience a little background. So, like Justin said, we talk often, and Justin and I have in our friendship, our relationship, we kind of call each other, crying on each other's shoulders, and I worked for so and so today, and they were so mean to me and my guys, and and there's or who are the guys in town from Wyoming, seal coating all over the world. We call them the gypsies, and so several months back, Justin's been talking about. We always talk about, or Justin has mentioned how cool it would be to have our own show. It would be, have the it would be a reality TV show, The Paving, and between Justin's guys and my guys and the stupid things that go on, and we've actually been talking about that for a while, and then Justin called me a few weeks back about doing a podcast, and honestly, my wife and daughter know this about me. When you say podcast, I mean, what is that? I don't do podcasts. I don't know podcasts. I don't watch podcasts. And so, after I hung up the phone with you, Justin, my first call was to Shane Springer, which Shane Springer's in the background. He's the one that set all this up, which we'll give a shout out to Josh Shelley too, who helped me paint the back wall, prep in here. Thank you guys, by the way. So my first call was to Shane. So Shane, what do you think about this podcast deal? I mean, it's kind of a bizarro deal. Justin Rodriguez is thinking it might be a good thing, and Shane got excited about it right away. He was like, because obviously this is Shane's world.
I've never seen anyone do one for just kind of like in this format, and I do a lot of driving, like I mentioned, what I do every day. And I both we're driving all over the place, but no one's done a paving podcast, and I thought maybe it'd be a good idea because I'm always looking out for the next new piece of equipment, or hey, what could I have done better on a job, or what materials are out there that people are using. A lot of that information is kind of hard to find. It's not like you just go out and start paving. I mean, there's a lot to this.
There's a lot to it.
But we're always learning too. Mm-hmm. There's always new products. There's new ways to do things, and then within those new things, there's do's and don'ts with them, and I think, and that's why because I'm very conscientious with my time. I've got a family, I've got a young daughter, and if I didn't, to elaborate a little bit on what you're talking about, Justin, is I would have never agreed to do something like this if I didn't feel like there was a need for it. If we can, within the asphalt business, the thing that really is hard for asphalt contractors, and that's why you see a lot of them kind of burn and turn, is we're so heavily material leveraged. Our material is ungodly expensive. Yes.
Our equipment is ungodly expensive.
Yes.
And our labor is ungodly expensive. Being a contractor here in California, workers' comp, payroll taxes, finding skilled guys. You can't just go out and find a guy at $12 an hour off the street and say, our guys here in California, to find good guys, you're making 20, 25, 30, 35 bucks an hour.
And for a paving contractor, you need a lot of guys too, because there's a lot of guys to do the job.
You got to have a big crew.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, and the thing that I've noticed with guys that I've noticed that have come and gone over the years, they'll land a $100,000 paving job. For the first time in their life, they see a check for $100,000, but not realizing, well, $87,000 of that has to go to our material supplier.
Yep.
Maybe not quite that bad.
But materials,
a huge amount.
fuel costs, the insurance, the labor, that all has to go into it. And then out of that is there's only
it's a very, very small amount.
You're gonna hope to get a percentage of it, and you got to keep it. So,
right. So that was
people don't understand how expensive it is to do this.
It's well, and we've already talked about our upcoming episodes, and that's going to be one of our next episodes is the cost of paving a parking lot, seal coating, what goes into it. Justin already touched on it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that was my thought. The reason, after I talking to Shane and wrapped my head around it, and I thought, well, you know what? If this helps, 1 out of 100,000 contractors, if we spark an interest, if we can help a guy like me that was really, really good at the work, and get his head wrapped around the business part of it and help him be a better business owner, a better salesperson, be a better service provider, then I'm all in.
And you know what? That's why I wanted to do a show with someone like you, because that's a different perspective. I was when I thought about it at first, I was thinking it'd be good just to educate not prospective clients, but people out there. Like people, I get called, "What is a chip seal?" all the time. Nobody knows what that's like. Not really common language and everyday life. So I was thinking just fundamentals, just basic episodes, which I'm sure we'll do. But what goes into a chip seal? What goes into a new paving project? What goes into an overlay? What goes into a seal coat project? What's crack filling? All that stuff. So all of those things have questions and answers that people that are property managers, new contractors that are getting into a business, or contractors that might want to expand into paving or something, they might want to know those things. So there's a lot of good information on the internet, but it's not all categorized into one spot. So I thought that'd be a good resource, just having a show like this for the industry. It would be a good,
absolutely,
a good. It's a good resource. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and like you said, I mean, out of the hundreds of people that we live in a, Justin and I live in a small community, and Justin services about the same size area that we service, and within a week,
the exact same area.
Well, the exact same area. Yeah, exactly. So, geographically, the people that we meet, I mean, we're meeting hundreds of people a month.
Yep.
And if somebody has a specific question, we say, hey, go to our podcast, look at, watch our 30-minute podcast, episode 3.
Yeah.
We talked all about chip seal.
Yes.
I mean, you're 100%. That could be super informative, and it just makes us look a little bit more like an authority. Yeah. We're not any smarter. I mean, actually, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. You went to college at least. But,
but I think your insight into like the business aspect of the paving industry, I think that's a totally valid thing to talk about on the show. That's going to be a really good thing for contractors, not just out here in California, but I'm hoping across the United States in general. Like they're going to have. I was listening to I think it was like the Dave Ramsey podcast, and the guy called in all panicked, and he was a paving contractor in Florida or something, and he was and I watched it on YouTube, and the guy. It was like that thing. I guess they gets in over their head. They start buying way too much equipment, and they say, "Oh, I got all these dollar amounts coming in." It's like not thinking, "Hey, you got to pay your guys, your equipment, the
guy just simply didn't. He just didn't up his overhead.
Yeah, and he was scared because he had like repo people coming after him. And it was like, wow, it was like a kind of a sobering phone call.
Right.
It was like that, and he was in that business. I've heard that 1,000 times, reading it in the trade magazines that we get. And just different things I've seen out on YouTube and just people that I've talked to.
Well, and I think I said early on, I think the fundamentals of business and the fundamentals, the laws of nature that we all have to conform to. It doesn't matter whether you're a paving contractor, an attorney, a doctor, a plumber, an electrician. I'm hoping that the fundamentals, I mean, there will be specific topics we talk about. I mean, an electrician doesn't care about a Leeboy paving machine or a Weiler paver, but I'm hoping that the fundamentals are...
That's a good idea. When you said Leeboy, it triggered me. Another thing we want to do in this episode is have, on these shows, is have guests come in and sit with us.
Absolutely.
Like the Leeboy rep and, I know, Asphalt
material
suppliers, and run the gamut, like, and have interesting guests that we could talk to,
Sure.
and help guide episodes. You know, when we do the Crackville episode, maybe we could have someone come in from Craftco or Carl
Right,
from AC
right.
Coat. You know, so
Well, I mean, it's promising to me. This whole thing is just wildly the way that it's taken shape and everything, and Shane has posted some stuff, and we haven't even done one episode. Well, we're filming our first episode, and we already have people hitting us up to be on the podcast before we even release it to the world.
thank you guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you guys. Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
mean,
following us.
it's wild. I mean, yeah,
It's on
it's
Instagram, I think.
or Insta. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I like that.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest internet guy myself. Everyone's always like, "You're not on this, you're not on that." It's like, I don't know. I'm just too busy.
I've got
working.
guys. I got guys for that.
Or I'm like too busy working. I'm
Right.
focused on, like, you know, quality controlling a paving job.
That's right.
But kind of running up on the time here. So that being said, I kind of wanted to close out this episode, hopefully as a hook for future episodes, and we would like to answer viewer emails. So we're going to get an email set up, and we'd like anyone listeners or anyone who watches this to send us questions, and we'll be glad to answer them.
100%. Yeah,
And
that's what we're here
business
for.
questions, anything about chip seal or seal coat paving, we'll be glad to answer those questions. And
Well, I think the next question would be, who cut your beautiful beard there? Wouldn't the viewers want to know, right? Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if we want to get into my grooming.
Yeah.
But I do have a question that I wanted to ask the paving world, and hopefully they can answer this, because I was reading a National Geographic article about Mount Everest. I don't know, it was about a year ago, 2 years ago, and they showed, they talked about it very vaguely, but they showed the little town, and let me see, what's the name of that town?
I know we were just looking
Yeah,
it up
we were
last
just-
week. Yeah.
I'm going to have to look it up right now and find out the name of that town. Because, actually, I have it here. Never mind. I do have it. Little town.
Well, what Justin's getting while he's looking at that, so Justin's challenge is we want to figure out, we want to reach out to you paving guys or anybody really that has ideas of how this little tiny town with really relatively
there's no
way in,
there's no
roads.
way
out.
Yeah, so there's
how in the world
did they
get this runway paved?
Yeah, it's one of the most precarious airports, I guess, to land and fly in out of. It's the town is called Lukla, and it's in Nepal, up in the Himalayas. And in 2009, they did they did like a reconfiguration of the airport. They built it out, basically. They modernized it, and they actually paved the runway with asphalt. And that's as far as I believe it. And I can't find out how they did it. Like, how did they get the equipment up there? Because asphalt requires, as you know, emulsion or PG6410 tar, oil.
Well, you gotta have the hot plant.
And then you gotta
where in the hell is the hot plant?
Yeah, and where's the aggregate coming from? And then not only that, where do they get the paving machine?
How do you get equipment?
Where do you get a dump
equipment
truck? So I don't know. I don't know anything about this town. So if anyone out there in the internet world can answer this, or the paving world and specifically, if anyone out there was on this project or knows about how this was done, I would love to learn, because I think that's almost just as interesting as Mount Everest itself. Is like, what? How do they do this?
Yeah,
it's really
it's
cool.
amazing.
And
Yeah,
there's
it
a
is
town
great.
up there, and it's a pretty good sized town with like 2-story buildings, and they have airplanes and helicopters landing in there. But I don't know how they get the asphalt up there, because I have a hard time finding places to get asphalt here and we're in California
that's right.
sometimes.
That's right.
The
the funny thing you guys will see when you're looking into this runway, and Justin showed me videos of it. So the runway is too short. So the way they overcompensated was, as you land and you are running uphill to slow you down. When you take off, you're rolling downhill to get you speed up, because if you weren't going downhill, you wouldn't have enough speed to get lift. It is precarious.
They just drop off the edge, and then you see the plane kind of come out. And it's like,
it is
wow.
freaky.
Yeah. So,
well, and I told Justin that anybody that comes back with any kind of good response, $50 Amazon card on us, and just email us, your responses, and then and then whoever we deem as having the best response or the most viable.
Yeah, we have to verify it, or if someone
we'll get.
I need to find out.
We'll get you guys an Amazon card.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have the email posted on the website, and probably put it up on the Instagram.
Well, it'll
so
probably be
people
scrolling over here at some
Yeah.
point, right? I watch my daughter doing it, and they're pointing. Yeah, hit us up, thumbs up. Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's down here.
Anyway, we'll have an email for you guys. But with that, thank you for joining us for our first episode. And we'll have, we're probably, the next topic, because we're in the middle of the COVID, what do you call it, pandemic, I guess? We're sheltering in place for the most part.
Are we 6 feet apart, actually?
Yeah.
OMG.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now you got us in trouble.
I know.
But we're going to talk about, people keep asking, because prices of oil is down really low, and people keep asking us over and over again, hey, let's pave our roadway now because asphalt should be super cheap because gasoline is basically free right now. The barrel of oil is negative.
A barrel of oil is free.
It's really cheap, but there's more to it than that. So asphalt costs a lot more because of a variety of factors, but we would like to kind of...
That'll be our next topic.
Yeah, it's going to be
that'll be our next topic.
Put that, not to rest, but we'd like to...
shed some light.
Yeah, shed some light on that.
Yeah.
Because that is it's a current event, and we'd like to talk about that in the next
Well,
episode.
and the one thing, and this could be up for discussion, but the other thing, because I don't think we'll be talking too long about that, but I think permeable asphalt and concrete is probably another good topic.
Yeah.
We get a lot of calls about permeable. We live in California. In other parts of the country, they may or may not even know what permeable asphalt or concrete is. Here in California, everyone's green, trying to do the right thing, but it's not always the right thing. So.
Yeah, and then along with that, we're going to talk about just the industry in general, and we're going to talk about all the basics for those property managers out there and people who have properties and asphalt. They want to know, like, what is a chip seal? Where does it go? How can we apply it? When do I need to seal coat? Paving, can we overlay our driveway? Does it time to rip it out completely? What options you have? So those are the kinds of things we're going to talk about. So we'll go to each of those topics in depth and far more beyond that, because I mean we have so many different things we could talk about.
Oh, it's endless.
It's
endless.
It really is. So with that, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.